General Marcellus Crocker was only 35 years old at the end of the Civil War, but he rose to the rank of general. The most famous battle for General Crocker, and maybe for Iowa, was the Battle of Shiloh and the Battle of Vicksburg. In one of his books, George Mills, he talks about General Crocker, but if you gave him and his Crocker Greyhounds of Iowa ambition to do, they were either going to be successful or die trying. Towards the end of the war, General Crocker develops tuberculosis. General Sherman, President Lincoln, and General Grant ordered him off the battlefield and gave him command of a fort down in New Mexico at the end of the Civil War. So when all these closing events of the Civil War are happening in April of 1865, he's commanding a fort trying to be in the weather for better health for his tuberculosis. When the war is finally over, they order him to come and sign out in Washington, D.C. And he's such a soldier, he goes on to Washington, D.C., where his tuberculosis flares up and he dies at the age of 35. And his body is brought back. In 1875, veterans, they actually had a reunion here in Des Moines. Hoyt Sherman is the hosting city host, and President Grant was asked to be one of the speakers. So President Grant arrives by train and he says, "I will not go anywhere." Takes me to Woodland Cemetery to pay my respects to General Crocker. At the site of General Crocker's grave, he actually says these words: "This is the only man ever fit to command an army." Many people say if he'd lived, he'd been at the very least governor of Iowa. At the very height, he probably might have succeeded Grant as president of the United States.